Hello there. Welcome to day 16 entitled Despised. This one is one of the trickiest of the entire pilgrimage because it actually isn't as straight up as some of the other ones are. This has two sides of the coin of being despised. We're going to go a little bit outside the box and actually talk about two fears that people in our modern church and in our modern culture have. And that's the fear of being despised and the love of being despised. We've got two sides of it that we're going to examine today. So, for the most part, people fall into one of two camps in our modern world. The first, these are the people pleasers. These people, and I'm one of them, is that the prospect of someone we care about despising us, even for a moment, the prospect of a rupture in a relationship, of garnering a bad reputation, of displeasing someone, that is a strong enough deterrent to avoid speaking the truth, of saying what is good, true, and beautiful. And the consequence of that is it leads to tolerating and condoning things we know aren't good for the people in our lives, even though we supposedly love them. That's what people pleasing results in. Now, the other side of the coin in our culture, in our church, is that we have a whole host of people in our church that actually are attracted to the idea of someone despising them, almost as if it's a badge of honor. And in this group of the church, sometimes I've found myself in this group at different times too. We speak the truth and intentionally rupture the relationship. We speak the truth in such a way that we don't take into consideration what's best for the other person, or what creates a scenario in which the other person would actually be able to hear what we have to say. Almost as if we've stopped seeing another person and we only see the truth of what we want to say. And so we say what we want, however we want, whenever we want, in an antagonizing way, even though we know this creates a 0% chance the other person is going to hear what we have to say and change for the better. The thing is, neither of these approaches are Jesus' way of doing things. Now, on the one hand, Jesus did not avoid saying the hard thing, and he did not avoid saying the hard thing directly. He told the woman caught in adultery, hey, you're sinning, stop it. He told the religious elite, you're hypocrites. He owned his divinity, even though he got killed for owning his divinity. Jesus spoke out. He challenged people. He called people higher. And he did so out of love for them and out of full knowledge of who they were, in the manner in which it gave them the best chance to be freed from the bonds of sin, to be freed from the bonds of self-righteousness, to be free from the burden of perfection, to be free from the powers of evil. So Jesus would speak directly to the people that needed to be spoken directly to if they had any shot of coming out of their current place. But Jesus also shared the truth in the most loving way possible. Yes, Jesus didn't compromise the truth, but he also didn't compromise on mercy. On the cross, he was offering forgiveness to the very people who killed him. Today, too often, the modern Christian presents the truth on a garbage can lid, void of mercy, almost as if I desire to be despised by certain people because I actually despise them. How we speak matters. We can't just say whatever we want, and we can't be quiet when God demands that we speak the truth in charity. Being despised is not of God when it's the objective. And it's not of God to avoid speaking the truth in charity when it's because we're afraid of being despised. It's both of these things. Here's what I mean. So 10 years ago, I was on a plane with a ring in my pocket to propose to my girlfriend. And that day, I was calling people to let them know that I was going to go propose, people really close to me. And everyone was like, okay, go for it, except one person. And that was my best friend. I called Tom before I got on the plane, and I told him my plan. Now, the relationship that I was in, the girl I was going to propose to, that relationship, it was a rocky one. And throughout the whole journey, Tom had been with me every step of the way, listening to me, understanding where I was coming from, and pushing me ever so gently and making suggestions ever so gently, asking questions, but just journeying with me. But on this day, when I had the ring in my pocket and I was on a plane, he said, Jack, I've been with you the whole way through. And you know that I love you. And you know I know you as well as anybody. So hear me when I say this. This is not a good idea. Maybe it could be someday down the road, but today it's not a good idea. And on the day you call your best friend to let him know you're going to propose to a girl, he should be at peace, same as you. Oof. What a thing to say, right? Tom took a huge risk. I could have ignored him, got married, despised him, pushed him out of my life, all that stuff for saying that. I could have done all that. But Tom, out of love for me, risked that because it was worth it, because he loved me. And he spent all this time building a strong enough relationship and knowing me well enough that he knew he could speak to me in a way that would really resonate, that would help me go back to God and say, wait a minute, is Tom right? Because he was. I didn't end up proposing. That relationship ended, and it put me on a new path to meeting my wife, having my kids, and having this life that we have now. And it was because Tom risked being despised out of love for me. Our objective here, folks, is to love, not a fluffy love or an inconsiderate love, but a dying to self, allowing Jesus in the fullness of his mercy and his truth to be present in the world through us. It's the kind of love where our selfishness decreases so his love and his mercy and his truth can increase. So when the opportunity presents itself for us to say the truth, we got to pay special attention to whether or not we run from it out of humiliation or whether we run to it with reckless abandonment out of love for being despised. So examine your life today. Do you speak the truth? Why or why not? And then if you do you do it with mercy? Why or why not? Jesus, from the fear of being despised, deliver us.